Hello, Veteran Outdoorsman here again today, and we are going to do a review on a really neat little pistol. It's made by Kimber. It's called the Micro 9. I think I've showed it in some of my other videos. I'm not sure. I have to go back and look. But regardless, it's a carry gun. Let's get started. Well, first of all, let's take a look. We'll hold it here. You probably see just a slight bulge, but not much. My preferred method of carry is pocket carry, because it's just easily accessible. Here it is. Now, this is my everyday carry. So, we're going to clear it. Put the magazine aside. Clear. Lock it in place for now. Kimber Micro 9. Nice little gun. They make several variations of it. The difference is the sights, the finish, the grips. The basic gun is the same. I think it's pretty classy looking. It's basically a 1911 on a smaller frame without the grip safety. Functions very much the same. It's single action, single stack. We know that not all 1911s are single stack, but the originals were. Single action, single stack. Easy to control. Easy to get a hold of. Again, clear. Safety off. Nice, clean, crisp trigger pull. Not too heavy, especially for a carry gun. Not a bad thing to have a slightly heavier trigger. I prefer on all my guns. Some people on rifles like 3 pounds, and that's okay. I prefer to just have everything around 5. This is a little heavier, maybe 7, but not bad at all. Not bad at all, and it has loosened up some as I've used it. Little take up. Just a slight bit of creep. Not bad. Not bad. Pretty crisp. Doesn't quite break like glass. Pretty crisp though. Nice gun. 9mm. Some Hornady XTPs there. My favorite carry load. And one of my favorite hunting bullets as well, especially for muzzle loaders, handguns, etc. XTP in any caliber that it's available in is a good bullet. If you've never tried them, try them. Fixed sights, drift adjustable front and rear. See, they're in a dovetail, front and rear. This particular model has G10 grips, which are really nice. Very good checkering, and not over the entire grip, but good checkering. Nice, good grip. Stippled on the back of the grip here. And yes, it has some scratches. This is my carry gun. It's got a little bit of wear, a few scratches. Those came from carrying it inside the waistband and sitting down outside and rubbing up against some concrete or something. And yes, it made me sick, but it happens. It is my carry gun. These have tritium sights. This particular one, not all models do. Not all variants of the Kimber Micro 9 do have the nice night sights, but this model does. Let me see if you can. They're not gonna. Yeah, a little bit, just a little bit. They don't glow very well when there's light around. But they're they're very, very highly visible. Fact is, they glow bright enough that when in my pocket at night, if I'm wearing light colored pants, I can see just a slight hue through the fabric on thin fabric, like if I'm wearing khakis, something like that. I can see just the slight hue of the glowing through them. Um, I really prefer, for target shooting especially, just plain straight top posts, straight top notched rear, solid black. Target style sights, partridge front, something like that is what I prefer. Uh, but these, especially in a low light situation, are very nice, and they're visible enough that I can still see the outlying area and I can still line up the sights the way I prefer to. And I'll show you the way I prefer. Let's get them lined up. It's going to be harder than I thought, but just like that. And I put the top of the post on the center of my target. Many people use that dot and put it on the center of the target. I find with my eyes that just covers too much of the target, especially as the range gets further. And I get better groups by lining up the top of the post with the top of the rear sight and putting the top of the post across the center of my target. And I simply put it next to the center and cut the target in half. It works for me. No elevation adjustment. I haven't found a sight. I'm sure someone makes them, but I haven't found an elevation adjustable sight for this, a low profile sight that's snag free. If I find one of those, I'm going to think real hard about changing these sights out. As much as I like the firearm the way it is, I would like to have some slightly adjustable sights, because this firearm does tend to shoot just a little bit low at ranges of 15 and plus yards. Out to 25, it shoots about that low. When you think about it, that's still inside the torso of a grown man for sure. And most altercations where a handgun is used are at relatively close range. A combat distance is considered 7 yards. And many of the instances are much closer than this. And many times the guy's going to be so close that there's powder burns on him when you're done pulling the trigger. Now I pray that no one watching this video ever actually has to use a firearm in self-defense, but we need to be prepared in case we do. No one should ever have to take the life of another human being, but we need to be prepared in case it happens. I pray to God that no one ever has to do that. It's not pleasant. That's all I'll say about that. But nice grips, fairly nice matte finish. They make them with a stainless slide. The frame's aluminum. They do make a silver finish on the frame as well. You can get them with rosewood grips. You can get them with different polymers. You can get them with standard black sights, standard 3-dot white sights. Range anywhere from around $500 to over $800, just depending on what options you get. These sights are somewhere $150, $200, just the sights if you order them. They're not cheap. You can get magazines fairly inexpensive. Get them for about $25, $30, depending on where you find them at. Some models come with one magazine, some models come with two. Mine came with one, and I don't remember if it was the flush mag or the extended mag. But I did buy a second mag, so I've got one flush fit magazine, which is what I typically carry because it fits just a little better in my pocket. And it holds 6 rounds. And then I've got one extended mag. I won't rack around, but I'll just show you what it looks like. A little more, just catches my pinky then finally. I like it for the range. I need to buy another couple of mags like this for the range. Still practice as you carry though. If you're going to carry the flat mag, you need to practice like that so that you can be accurate. But nothing says that you can't then dump a handful of these and shoot for groups. I need to get another one or two. And these hold 7 rounds. Nice clean lines added to it. What? Boy, it's got some nicks on it. It's my everyday gun. Clear it again. I didn't rack the chamber, but you can never be too safe. Magazine clear. So, recoil's not too bad in this. It's only a 9mm. 9mm isn't known for punishing recoil. Although I owned a 380, and I owe Interordnance Hellcat that was brutal, and it was a 380. It is along the lines of an LCP, and if you've ever fired one of those, they're very hard to control and almost punishing because all of the recoil is concentrated right there on the web of your hand, and they only weigh a few ounces. An LCP, comparable in size and weight, not too bad. This one's probably not quite as light recoiling as the shield that I had. I had a Smith & Wesson M&P shield. Not quite as light a recoil as that. Probably similar to the LC9. I think I said LCP. The LC9 that my wife has. So fairly manageable. My wife shoots LC9 and really likes it. It's a little jumpy, not bad. This, because of the design and everything, is more straight back, a little easier to control, a little easier to stay on target. Fairly accurate at close quarters distances, 7 yards. I can shoot groups about like that or so, maybe closer if I really tried. But offhand, boom, 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 boom. Put them all in the chest, no problem. At standard self-defense ranges, I can even put them all in a torso out 25 yards, maybe even 50 yards. I don't practice that much at those distances, but I do shoot a little bit at those distances because if you get good at that, you're going to shoot that much better at close range. But I do try to be practical, so I shoot at distances where I would most likely have to engage the target. There's no spot in my house for a 50-yard shot. There's no spot in my house for maybe a 20 from corner to corner in the basement. Maybe. But I don't really see a need for that. But I will practice at longer ranges, 10, 15, 20, 25 yards. Just to stay proficient. And it's fun to push the envelope sometimes. I'll even set up something and try to hit a target, a water bucket or something at 100 yards. But that's not what this was designed for. It's a good pocket gun. Good for inside the waistband. I've said this before in another video. Every handgun you have ought to have at least one of these. Sticky holster, the right size. Grips to your pocket really well, easy to remove the firearm from. Protects the gun. Hides the profile of it fairly well. If you really, really want to hide the grip and everything, get you a piece of cardboard, a piece of leather, a piece of stiff canvas or denim, something like that, and stitch it along this edge and make it the size of this profile. And then put it in your pocket like that. something fairly stiff but somewhat soft contouring. And when you slide that in your pocket, no one will know it's there. They're going to know something's in your pocket, but they're never going to guess it's a firearm because they're just going to see a flat profile. They may notice a little bit of a bulge, something. They're never going to know it's a firearm. But you wear loose fitting pants with pleats or something. No one knows it's there. I've never knowingly has anyone ever said, "Oh yeah, you're carrying a gun." I carry it all the time. Um, and again, inside the waistband, fits really good in the breast pocket of a coat, and that's not a bad place to have a firearm because you think about it. Somebody comes up, "Hey, give me your wallet." Oh, okay, it's in my coat. Surprise, not a bad place. You know, you walk around with your hands in your pockets. Somebody comes up with a gun, and your hand's already on yours. That's why I like pocket carry. Keep your finger away from the trigger. Keep your safety on until necessary to take it off. But it's right there. And having your hands in your pockets is not a sign of aggression. It's not noticeable of, "Hey, he's got a gun. He's got your hands in your front pockets." I know us military guys, we're taught not to put our hands in our pockets. But hey, once you're out, it's okay. But it may be a hard habit to break. Um, I sometimes carry inside the waistband at about 4 o'clock because I'm fat, and it's if I carry it at 3 o'clock, it kind of digs into my side, and if I try appendix carry, well, my gut just gets in the way. But at about 4 o'clock, basically just a little slightly over my back pocket, it's comfortable. I hardly know it's even there. It's pretty unobtrusive. But again, an assailant comes up and sees you reaching back like this, he knows something's up. Some people prefer to carry in the smaller their back. Again, back here. I know we're not discussing carry methods, but I get into it a little bit because this is the firearm that I carry. Can't say enough about these holsters. I really need to just do a review on the sticky holster. I really, really like it. Kimber, what can you say? Kimber, quality. You're going to find some bad reviews about these. You're going to find bad reviews about everything. Pay them a grain of salt. Go to a range, try one out, see what you think. I think you're really going to like it. If you like 1911s, and you don't necessarily want a striker-fired gun, although I can list a couple that I really do like and I would recommend. You want a hammer-fired single action because that's just what you're used to. This is the way to go. Something else to say though, if you're a lefty, maybe not. Doesn't have an ambidextrous safety. There may be a model that does. This doesn't. Now, you can carry it left-handed and teach yourself to flip the safety off like this. It's hard to re-engage, but you could teach yourself to do that, but it's just not a natural movement. You do have your finger right here along the trigger, and you could probably train yourself. I can't get it. You could probably but you could do it. But there's a solution. If you can't find one with an ambidextrous safety, and I'm not sure they make this Kimber in that. SIG makes it, I think it's a 938. Almost identical. Got the ambo safety. I've got a buddy that's left-handed, carries one, loves it. We both can't speak highly enough of the firearms that we carry, and we love them. We swap stories about them. We carry the same types of holsters. They're very similar guns. Now his is all stainless, has rosewood grips. Very pretty gun. Kind of a barbecue gun. But that's another option. And SIG being what they are and the quality they have, I can't imagine going wrong with that. But we're talking about the Kimber. Pretty no frills. Nice serrations here, easy to get a hold of. Doesn't have any serrations up here for pressure checking, but it's not difficult. As my hand slips off, it's not too bad, but I prefer to just grab it by the rear. Sorry. Take safety off. I prefer to just grab it by the rear, but it's not bad. The main spring on these isn't horribly stiff. Doesn't need to be. It's a 9mm. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. What else can I say about it? Standard slide straight back 1911 style trigger. If you have, I've got pretty big fingers, but if your fingers are any bigger than mine, you may have a little bit of trouble in the trigger. You see, I take up most of the space, but it's comfortable. You may find yourself going past the first knuckle. I find myself doing that a lot, and I've kind of got to force myself to use the pad of my finger like you're supposed to. But that comes with training. It is a smaller handgun. If you got bigger hands, you're going to appreciate the extended magazine. And I do for range work. I really like that. But again, for carrying, I like the flush because it's a 1/2 inch that's not sticking in my pocket. It is one less round, though. 6 versus 7. But you've got to think, guys carried standard and small frame revolvers for years that held 6 or 5 rounds. A little J-frame 38, I think most of those held 5. Maybe they made one held 6. Stuffed in your pocket was the backup gun of the day for a small Colt, a Smith & Wesson J-frame. The backup gun of the day for 70 years. The concealed carry gun of the time. Would fit nicely in an ankle holster. If you get deep back pockets, there's some companies that make a holster that looks like a wallet, and this would fit nice in your back pocket. It fits just about anywhere. Slide it in your little side compartment of your door, in your vehicle. Stick in the ashtray. I mean, it's very compact, very very light. You hardly notice you've got it with you. It's accurate. It's reliable. I have had a few stovepipes, and I attribute every one of them to limp wristing it. And I say that because it is a bit of a handful. It's manageable, but it's a bit of a handful, and it's very easy during rapid fire to lower and loosen your grip. And you start to get a little bit of this. You start to get some of this as it's just sliding back in your hand and cause a malfunction. But with a nice firm grip, bang, 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 not a single malfunction. Also, those few stovepipes I had were in the first 25 rounds of ammunition that I fired through this firearm. And that's not unusual for any automatic during a break-in period. But I think I've had 2. I don't know exactly how many rounds I've put through it, but a few hundred, I'd say. And just not exactly sure. But I had a couple. It was early. It was my fault. So I'm not worried about it. If you're not a 1911 person, if you're somebody that tends to get malfunctions with the 1911, probably not the gun for you. But if you just don't like striker fires, you don't like that silly little safety on the trigger, I don't care for it either. you like 1911s, you like hammer fired guns, you like single action, I think you're going to really enjoy this. It's a joy to carry. Um, Not a bad backpack gun, something like that. It is a 9 millimeter. I mean, it's got some pop. It's got some power. Uh, make a bad little trail gun. I wouldn't use it, for hunting small game or anything like that. But just to have something while you're hiking with you, um, for self defense from smaller four-legged critters to two-legged critters. Uh, Load it with some bird shot. Carry it with you on it during your farm chores. Shoot snakes, things like that. Just, I mean, I've got it on me all the time. I can't speak highly enough about it. I like the jet black finish and everything. Now this is a special, uh, made for a specific distributor, but there's similar models out there that are readily available. Good rugged grips. They do tend to take some dirt, and occasionally you get a little bit of soap and water, clean them out with a toothbrush. Uh, as it wears, these gray lines become more prominent, and I really think that's a handsome look. I'm not sure how well you can see, but it gives the appearance of wood grain. I think that's a really handsome look, and the gray parts become more and more prominent with use of the firearm. I think it's just some wear showing there, but it looks really good. Really durable. This I said G10 earlier. Micarta grips, which is just laminated pieces of canvas with epoxy, and then they shave it and it gives it the wood appearance. Really, really beautiful. In my opinion, and very rugged. Again, it's a Kimber. In my opinion, you can't go wrong. If you want a revolver, to me, Smith and Wesson's first, Ruger second, Taurus a close third. I know people are going to boo and hiss. Honestly, um, I think Taurus is probably as good as Ruger. I put them just slightly behind because I have seen just a handful more issues with a Taurus than I have a Ruger. But they're pretty similar. Um, I've owned several Taurus and Rossi revolvers. Never had any issues with any of them. Uh, I've owned several Rugers. Not had any problems. Owned several Smith and Wesson, or at least one Smith and Wesson, and fired several. So that would be my choice. And automatics though, depends on if you're talking high end, low end, mid range, blah blah blah. Price is no object to me. High end Sig, high end Kimber, then probably Smith and Wesson would tie for, and Ruger would tie for third. Taurus would be down below, then High Point, then Glock. No, he's not serious. Actually, I am. Um, Make the Glock fanboys mad, but yeah, I really do think the High Point is a better gun than the Glock. But hey, that's my opinion. This is my channel. I'm allowed to voice. If you're more mid range price, I would say I haven't been impressed though that their quality is good. I just don't particularly like the mid range Sigs. So I'd say a Kimber along this line. Then in Smith and Wesson and Ruger, uh, probably put the Smith and Wesson M&P line slightly above the Ruger. But that's personal preference. I think quality wise, they're both very similar. Price wise, they're very competitive. Accuracy wise, they're very competitive. Just my choice. And I did make a little bit of a joke. Glock would be right in there. they don't fit my hand, and I hate the triggers, so I've got to dig on them every chance I get. And you're going to notice that a lot. Sorry, Glock guys. But, got off subject. I do that a lot. Not a cheap firearm. But if you're in the market for a good quality, last a lifetime carry gun, you want something to carry in your pocket, you want a 9mm, I really think this is the way to go. Save some money. It's going to cost you a bit. Somewhere between $500 and $800, depending. I've seen them low as like $550, I think. That's been a few years. Up to around $8, just depending on the model, depending on where you get it. You can get one 650, no problem. Not cheap, but again, middle of the road. Excellent firearm. Remember, as I always say, Christ is King. Follow God in the way He leads you. And I'm going to see you later.